All over Europe, high energy prices are causing problems for people, also for entrepreneurs and energy suppliers. Now, countries are reacting very differently to the crisis. Our correspondents in Germany, France, Italy, and Spain explain how.
The German government has agreed on its biggest relief package yet for citizens and companies facing the pain of soaring energy prices. After tough overnight negotiations on the weekend, the coalition partners decided to help vulnerable groups, including pensioners, students, and people receiving social welfare support, as well as energy companies that depend on expensive imported fuel. The €65 billion price tag will be paid in part by a new tax on windfall profits being reaped by other energy firms that depend on cheaper fuels, such as coal. And meanwhile, the tireless energy diplomacy of Germany's economics and climate minister Robert Habeck has succeeded in partially weaning this country off of Russian natural gas.
Paris has now increased a fuel subsidy by 12 cents to 30 cents per litre. It has also capped electricity price increases. But President Macron has already warned that the end of abundance is near and that energy prices will eventually rise. According to polls, the French are willing to reduce their energy consumption as long as the government continues to help them financially.
Business and unions are calling for the government to do more, even as €52 billion have already been budgeted to soften the impact. The outgoing government of Prime Minister Mario Draghi is expected to call on the public to turn the heating down by 1 degree and to turn it off for an extra hour every day. But as Italians go to the polls on September 25th, the different political parties are expected to call for a cap on gas prices, either at the European level or domestically, with others pushing for nuclear power or tapping further into local gas resources. Clearly, this is going to be on top of the agenda for any new government.
Spain is taking part in EU-wide efforts to save gas to make it through the winter. Visitors to Spain may feel warmer than before as public buildings like shopping malls, restaurants, hotels or even airports are not allowed to cool their indoor spaces below 27 degrees. In contrast, the autumn and winter heating of these areas is not allowed above 19 degrees centigrade. Furthermore, illumination of public buildings, even shop windows, has to be switched off after 10 p.m. To ease the burden of its citizens, the government just decided to lower the tax on gas.
Now we go to Michael Krutiken. He is an oil and gas market analyst speaking to us from Oslo, Norway. Was Russia anticipating Europe tightening its belt to the extent that it has, Michael, in its move to get off Russian energy?
I believe that the Russian government expected, somewhat different reaction to the gas blackmail. I believe that Mr. Putin expected Europe to decrease the heat of sanctions against Russia and maybe to decrease the help of Europe to Ukraine, which is resisting the Russian aggression.
Okay, well, we just heard about some moves like wearing an extra sweater, Italians turning down their temperature by 1 degree. How significant are these moves actually going to be for energy markets? Will they make a difference?
Yes, I think they will make a difference, at least in the minds of the population. And any small contribution counts for the resistance to the Russian blackmail. And we see that it's not only the people in the street that are resistant, it is the industrial companies. For example, since the beginning of August till the end of August, we see that consumption of natural gas by industrial companies in Germany decreased by over 20%. This is energy saving, and it is a very important factor for the resistance.
Right, right. Well, what we're seeing here is, of course, changes to people's consumption, also looking into different types of energy. Is the industry expecting any sort of long-term changes to how people consume energy because of this?
Yes, one of the strategic factors in Russia is expecting Europe to slow down on the green transition, on decarbonization, and switch to clean energy such as hydrogen, wind, solar energy, and so forth. And we see the reaction of Europe is absolutely opposite. The movement towards green energy is accelerating in Europe, and I think there will be an absolutely new pattern of energy consumption and energy production in Europe in about maybe half a year or 12 months.
Mikhail Krutikin, he's an energy analyst. Thank you so much for joining us for that analysis.